to the Morning Minute. I am your hostess, Sierra Melker. I am your guide. I hold this space for you individually and communally. And as always, I want to invite you to take a deep breath. I want you to check in with yourself because it is in this connection with ourselves that we become informed, we become empowered, we become clear on where we are, who we are, and then where we're going, what we need to get there, how to get there, etc. But without that pause, without that inner awareness, we might just be dashing and moving in any direction without that clarity, without that direction. And honestly, the most important part, without the feeling empowered and connected to ourselves, we're just spinning. Okay. And I'm hopping on this morning. Good morning, Elizabeth. Thank you for always being our newest, latest, greatest champion and tuning in with us live. How are you, Elizabeth? Take a deep breath and check in with yourself. How are you, this person, in this moment? What I wanted to share this morning has been coming up a lot in the community. It's coming up for women. I'm connecting with my clients one-on-one, and the women in my women's circle are experiencing and expressing a lot of heaviness, some struggle, some hard emotions, anxiety, fear. It's just super sadness, and there's a lot going on. And I want to acknowledge that, and I want to hold that. Last night, one of the women called all of these emotions bad emotions, negative emotions. And this is a really common way of thinking about things, but when we think about things in a good, bad duality, when we think about things and judge certain emotions as these are okay to have and these are not okay to have, it perpetuates what this belief of that discomfort is not valuable. And if you've read my book, How Change Really Happens, or you've been in this community for a little bit, you know how I teach and talk about finding the value in the discomfort. And so before, and I know that you want to dash right out of discomfort as soon as you feel it, and this is okay. But if you're going to feel discomfort at all, I also want to invite you to see what there is to learn from it. And before you just avoid it, before you medicate it, before you numb it, before you try to orchestrate your whole life to avoid discomfort, I also want to place this idea in your mind that there is something of value there. And if it's not immediately present or obvious to you, that is okay. That is what the Women's Circle space is for. That is some of the things that we do in the one-on-one coaching. And remember that the Game Changers Circle, the 3-week free access is available to you. So if you are feeling stuck, if you are heavy, if you are struggling with what's going on in your life or in the world around you, know that you are not alone. A lot of folks are really having a hard time with this. That is not to say that that's a bad thing. Okay, it means you're tuning in, and that is good. But what we do with that struggle, do we use it as fuel? Can we gain lessons and accelerate our progress from that? Or are we trying to avoid it and delay our progress? Okay, this is complex, but when you get into it, and I can guide you through this, when you get into it, you can begin to see the lessons and apply them and take the juice from them. The prerequisite, though, and I must say this here, the prerequisite to exploring discomfort is feeling safe. So don't, just because you watch this, don't throw yourself headlong into discomfort. That will cause more trauma and will actually pull you back from the learning and the lesson. So my invitation is, if you feel safe, to pause with your discomfort and see if there's something that you can learn from it. If you're not sure what you can learn from it and you want some help, I am here explicitly for this. hop on a call with me, sign up for the Women's Game Changers Circle on Sunday nights. Let's look at this discomfort together in a safe space. But remember, safety first. Okay, if you are feeling physically or psychologically unsafe, that is not the optimal time or condition to explore and unearth your discomfort, right? Safe is good. I've been talking about it as a sweet spot. You need to feel safe enough in order to look at your discomfort, but you also need to feel uncomfortable enough in order to look at the discomfort. So it's that sweet spot, and we'll figure out what that is for you each day. It can be different, but don't just take my word and be like, oh, Sierra says that I'm supposed to explore my discomfort, so I'm going to throw myself headlong into like childhood trauma. That is not what I'm saying. Okay. But tuning into noticing how you're feeling, if you're finding discomfort, see what there is to learn from it before you dash out. That's the nudge and the invitation today. That is not something that we do all at once. It is something that we do little by little. It is something that we can do cyclically. I've come to learn this from myself with my menstrual cycle and with the energy of the moon. When the energies get low, when things feel dark, I know how to create safety and then the willingness, sort of with a lifeline, to go into these darker spaces, to gather the learning and then come out. But it is that lifeline, not just going in headfirst with no recourse. Okay. So there's a lot that I've just shared in this. This morning minute might actually be worth listening to a second time now that you know what I'm going for. Listen to it again. Share your thoughts, share your questions. If you're up for it, how safe do you feel? Okay. Elizabeth is sharing feeling fatigued, working on bringing that up. Some goddess power. Yes, anxiety is a real issue for you, Elizabeth, and I'm hearing it a lot. A quote from the circle last night was the only sort of negative emotion that I feel comfortable with is anxiety. And that just means it's familiar. Comfort and familiarity, we use the words interchangeably, but they are not the same. So I also want you to sort of wedge a little vice in between comfort, what actually feels comfortable, and what feels familiar. Comfortable because it's familiar. So looking at that and separating the two, because they are not the same, but we are using this word interchangeably. So play with the concepts I've presented here. Share in the comments, how are you feeling in this moment? Where do you feel safe? Where do you feel stuck? Where are you heavy? Where do you need support? Okay, this community, just in the Facebook group, post how you're feeling and people will respond. People will reach out. People will support. Or you know what? The other thing is, this does not need to be fixed. There is not something inherently wrong with this, and that's the next level of spending some time in discomfort. We are not here to fix one another. We are not here just to be happy, okay? That is a really common misunderstanding that I see in a lot of healing spaces. It's just like, how do we make it all good? When you feel safe, when you feel strong, then you're actually ready. You're willing to spend a little bit more time in this discomfort, willing to explore anxiety, fear, heaviness, so that we can learn from it, apply it to our lives on a larger scale. It is not a pick and choose life experience. And again, if you've read How Change Really Happens, you will see that it is the discomfort, it is the struggle that has the most to offer us. Okay. Very rarely are we like, oh, I'm super happy, I'm going to dig in and find out why I'm so happy. No, we're just happy. So it is the struggle that has a lot to teach us. When you are ready, sending you love. See you soon. And it's time to tune out.